Yeah, I know. I thought you were diving right into it.
I was kind of diving, but
and I was just making sure you remembered that before we start any topic, and especially one as big as today's top topic of the Browns not making a move for their quarterback, we got to remind people who brings us that topic. And today's topic, number one on the docket, is brought to us by FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's a $150 in bonus bets. If your team wins any money line, any odds, you win, you get the bonus bets for new customers. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is so easy to use. You can bet on spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get in on the action. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And you can become the next Inspire who turned $10 into $258 with a 4-part same-game parlay on the Lakers-Kings the other night. He had LeBron over points, De'Aaron Fox over points, over assists for both of those as well. All 4 parts of the parlay hit, and he turned a $10 bet on FanDuel into $260. And you can do it, too, if you're using FanDuel.com.
Hopefully everybody bet the under on everything Cavs because they sucked yesterday. We'll talk about that in overtime. Are we getting concerned about how soft Evan Mobley is? That's all coming up later in the show. But let's dive right into it, guys. Trade deadline. I know Tyvis is going to say he didn't expect anything, so I'll let you start with that because I know G is like me. I'm pissed off right now. I'm sure he is.
I'm glad.
Go ahead.
So
be calm, if you will.
Anybody that was upset at the trade deadline yesterday, shame on you, because I sat here and I told you that they're not going to make a trade for quarterback because they feel that they can get through what they need to get through until Deshaun comes back. Obviously, Deshaun must be feeling a little bit better, and they must think that they're closer to it, because if they didn't and it was a panic, they would have done so. And I also believe that my boy G. Bush sat up here maybe a couple weeks ago, and he got the feeling that maybe, just maybe, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry might get a pass for this year. Because if they must know something, because if they didn't, if they thought that their jobs was on the line this year, it would have been a panic. They would have been like, we got to get somebody in here because we don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun. Even if Deshaun comes back next week, we still got to get through this game, and we still want that insurance policy. But I believe that something must have been said to them, because that was the most passive way, especially in the fact that your quarterback isn't great, but to be passive about it at the trade deadline, you must know you good for at least another year. That's what I think. What y'all think?
G. Bush, we haven't heard from you since Friday, Sunday actually, post-game.
Yeah,
the floor is yours.
Yeah, listen. What camera I'm on? This one? What is it, 2 or 3?
That one right there.
I've been going so long.
That one right there.
Listen, just like Tyvis said, a lot of times y'all call me the Duke and knee-jerk, but a lot of times my crystal ball is right. At the time, the way I say it, it may give you a little panic, because when I said a couple weeks ago that there has to be a reason why they're not doing anything, and one of my theories was they've already been guaranteed that they're going to get another year. And all the tea leaves point to the fact that they're going to get another year because they essentially punted on the season again. Like, this is 2 punts in a row. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm just saying it in terms of looking at it from a quarterback perspective. There's no way you can have any sort of confidence that Deshaun Watson is, A, going to come back and be his Houston form this year, B, be able to come back and sustain hits and carry out the duties of quarterback, and C, have the ability to stay in the game without being injured further on hits or just throws, period. So if you have all that information at your hands, and you also have P.J. Walker, and the statistics show that he's turning the ball over at a rapid pace, it's inexcusable for you not to go get another quarterback, because you're just telling your fan base that you really don't care about winning. And I told Bull this. I said, we'll see how I'm going to gauge what they do in at this break to see whether or not they really want to win. And when you look at other teams like the 49ers going out and getting Chase Young and giving up assets to go get them, that's what I call trying to go all the way in and win big time. And so for me, I was just disappointed for not only just the people in the locker room. I was just disappointed for the fans, because you got to realize they've been selling you this. They've been doing this every single year. They sell you on the fact that this is a Super Bowl team. They sell you on the fact that they're going all in. But right when they get to the doorstep, they leave brides at the altar more than I do. like for real, like they get you all amped up and excited, and then they just leave you there. You didn't pay for the tuxedos, the rentals.
Well, on another thing is, they got like $34 million in cap, and they trying to roll over that money. And I think that a lot of the times we thinking, this is what I'm saying. This is how I know that it's got to be something about another year, because if it's my I don't care about rolling $34 million over. That's not my problem if I'm getting fired.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure I secure my job. But I think that in a strategic way, they're thinking about guys that they want to be able to afford next year, or guys that they want to be able to keep. And if they can't roll over all of that $34 million, then they have to make some really hard decisions on letting some people that they want to re-sign or maybe want to keep on this team go. And I think they're trying to play the long-term game here and think that P.J. Walker is – somebody corrected me. He's 1-1 as a starter, but 2-1 as a Browns player. I think they feel like just what he was doing as far as him going to Seattle, being down 14 points and bringing the team back, I think they really feel like they can grow off of that, and they really feel like the locker room is behind this kid. So I think that's why they feel like they're comfortable, at least through Arizona, and they're praying that that Deshaun comes back next week.
Well, Tyvis apparently thinks all black quarterbacks are the same.
By the way, that's a nice thesis statement here. But I'll also go to this. Yes, you want to have a big time approach, and you want to look at the totality of everything. You want to make sure that you're fiscally responsible. You also want to make sure that you can field a good team for the not today, but for the long haul. But the problem with that is the macro is cool, but the micro really affects people in the locker room. If I'm Myles Garrett and I have that level of talent, and I've been putting out that level of talent through bad teams, through coaches, through all this good stuff, and I see P.J. Walker out there, I'm going to say, look, man, I'm in the prime of my career. Joe Thomas played his life, he played his heart out for the city.
Yeah.
Joe Thomas was a walking Hall of Famer. And the Cleveland Browns punted year after year after year, never got nobody to help him, wasn't serious about winning. And Joe Thomas got that gold jacket, but he can never get that time back.
I feel like I hear what you're saying, and organizationally, I see what you're saying. But you've been in the locker room. You will respect a guy that you see every day that's working his butt off, and he's doing all the extra things. And even in the moment of defeat, he still is fighting to try to bring this team back. You can respect that as a player. You'll get behind it. So I think that's what, as a player, like, I think they've grown accustomed to, like, listen, man, he might not be the greatest thing ever, but this dude work hard, he busts his butt. And he does have the ability to make some plays. He got to clean up certain things, but I see this young dude working, and I can get behind it. I can respect that as a player. So I think from a player, locker room standpoint, I don't think they're all the way upset about it. But from an organization, if you're looking like big picture, like, yeah, you want one of the best quarterbacks. You want a quarterback to come in here that everybody who can make all of the throws. But at the end of the day, you got to go with what you got right now. And right now, the only thing they know is P.J. Walker and DTR, who they've been with this entire season. So they've built that bond with him because that's their guy now. I know because I listened to the post-game interviews.
Tyvis, let me jump in here because I am beyond pissed at the Browns right now. And I have defended the Browns all season long. I've defended the organization. I've even been accused of being an apologist, which is crazy after years of killing the Browns. I like a lot of things, believe it or not, I like a lot of things about where the Browns are as an organization. And in a lot of ways, they're in better shape than they've been in a very long time. I think Andrew Berry's a decent GM, decent. I think Kevin Stefanski's a pretty good coach. The problem is you were the only team in the NFL yesterday that is over 500 that traded a player away for a draft pick. All the other teams that traded players away for draft picks are 500 or worse. In fact, they're all worse except for Minnesota did trade a player, and they're a 500 team. Now, what I have heard time and time again, since, first of all, so many people wanted the Browns to trade for a quarterback. And since the deadline happened, and I put out a video that I was pissed, and I put out a video, podcast that I was pissed, and I'll say it again here. I'm pissed. And I keep hearing this, what you just said, Tyvis. Well, they must think Deshaun Watson is just about ready to play. He must be doing better, blah, blah, blah. G. Bush said it, and he's 100% right. There is no way that the Browns can let's say they're expecting him to play against Baltimore. How could they? How could they possibly be expecting him to play against Baltimore when 13 to 12 days ago they thought he was ready to go, and after 5 throws, they realized they had to take him out of the game because he couldn't throw. He had a month before that. So then he went in there, he got hit again, he looked like crap because his shoulder's not right, and 3 weeks later, after that, he's now going to be ready to play against Baltimore. I don't see it. And as you said, G, and you're 100% right, even if he does go against Baltimore, I'm still going to be worried that it's going to happen again. The idea of him playing at a winning level is low. Now, ultimately, to win in the playoffs, and this has been the other argument, well, the Browns can't win anything significant without Deshaun Watson. And that's probably true.
That's what we
Even if they had gone, at this point, the best guy they could have gotten was Jacoby Brissett. And with Jacoby Brissett, are the Browns winning a Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett? I doubt it. It's very unlikely that you could win a Super Bowl with a quarterback of that caliber. But there's something to be said for Jacoby Brissett giving you, in my opinion, a way better chance of making the playoffs. And if Deshaun, let's say, if you have Jacoby Brissett, I would feel way more confident in saying, Deshaun, we'll see you in 6 weeks.
Yep.
And we'll see. Maybe he can come back for the final 3 games of the season. But we can rest him because I know that Brissett at least can give me serviceable NFL quarterbacking play. P.J. Walker cannot. He couldn't in Carolina. He couldn't anywhere else. That's why he's been on 82 teams and practice squads and the XFL and the CFL and the UFL and the Lingerie Football League, because he's not good enough. He has been absolutely awful. And we could talk about the record all we want. P.J. Walker, it has nothing to do with the Browns being 2-1.
At all.
At all. You cannot really play worse than he did over the last 3 games.
The turnovers,
it's nearly impossible to play worse.
The turnovers kill you, boy.
1 touchdown and 6 turnovers. They won in spite of him. It had nothing to, if anything, he made it harder for them to win. And if they had Jacoby Brissett, there's almost no doubt in my mind that they would have won 3 in a row, not 2 out of 3. And the fact that they did reportedly try to get him, reportedly offering a 6th-round pick, tells you they wanted him. They were just not willing to go the extra mile. Now, the report that Washington wanted a 3rd-round pick, no way, nobody was trading a 3rd-round pick for Jacoby Brissett. Washington knows that too. But isn't there a space in between a 6th-round pick and a 3rd-round pick that they could have found a balance? Washington blew it up. They traded their two of their best players. Jacoby Brissett's on a 1-year contract. Of course they would have traded him at a fair price. And the Browns were, in my opinion, it seems like, unwilling to go past the 6th. That's ridiculous.
And to throw on top of that, if you look at this situation in a vacuum, you might let it ride. But look at the whole entire quarterback picture. In the beginning of the season, and I know people always say, well, no one cared about Josh Dobbs when they traded him. First of all, that's not our responsibility. We worried about who gets traded or what happens. But what was the reason you traded him for a 5th-round pick? Like, what was the burning desire? You could have kept him, you could have kept DTR, and you could have rolled with those 2 guys. But you got cute, you traded Dobbs, you elevated DTR. Then when you put DTR in the game, you didn't even give him any ammunition to protect yourself. Didn't have him ready to play.
That's the part that bothers
so
me
now
most.
You got to go to the XFL scrap heap, get PJ Walker, because you didn't do anything to get DTR ready, and then you're looking around trying to go back and get Dobbs or Jacoby Brissett. And by the way, if you like Jacoby Brissett so much, and here's the way I thought about it, if Jacoby Brissett did a great job and understood his role, he understood what it was to be a backup to Deshaun Watson. He did a good job while he was here. why not look at Jacoby Brissett and say, listen, I want you to stay here because Deshaun Watson is not guaranteed right now. We don't know either through his play or what's happening. We always got this a spot for somebody that's able to lead the locker room. So you could have kept that.
But you know the answer to that.
Why? Money?
Because everybody's always looking for the younger and cheaper guy. That's always why.
So does that mean that Tyvis,
if you know that if the play is equal or the same or a little bit under, they always gonna take the younger and cheaper guy.
Sometimes that comes back to bite you.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And it has here.
Clearly.
Because Jacoby Brissett, listen, nobody thinks Jacoby Brissett's a great quarterback. He is what he is, but he knows what he is. Jacoby Brissett knows what he can do and what he can't do.
McNuggets, do you know his Brown stats from last year? Do you happen to have that?
I do. Jacoby Brissett last season on the Cleveland Browns in 11 games went 4-7 as a starter, completed 64% of his passes for 2,608 yards, threw 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Okay, so that's the part right there that I like the most.
I mean, think about that.
It's all as a backup right now. If between DTR and PJ Walker, the defense has been doing so well, except for the last 2 minutes of the game, been doing so well that if you just don't turn the ball over,
if the Browns,
it will really help out a lot.
If the Browns, I believe this year, and obviously you don't know for sure, but I believe this year, and again, I'm no big Jacoby Brissett fan, but I think if Jacoby Brissett had played this year, the Browns might be 6-1.
Talking about for the whole
if
season?
you had gotten,
all season,
I agree.
If you had gotten the way Jacoby Brissett played over his 11 games last year, they're probably 6-1 because he did not 6 turnovers in 11 games. Is pretty good for a journeyman quarterback on a team.
Well, we knew that coming in.
That had remember how bad. I don't care about his record. Just like I don't care about PJ Walker's record. The Browns' defense was trash last year.
But I think the one thing, and it's gonna sound crazy to say because it shouldn't be this way. But I think that the Browns organization is young too. I think like the people upstairs is young. And they're learning as this thing goes on. They think that they can make shortcuts to it. And they finding out that you can't. Like last year, we sat here and said, you can't go into no season with no defensive tackle like that. You'll get destroyed. Right. And they learned that they need a defensive tackle. So what did they do? They went out and addressed the whole defensive line this season. Yeah. This season, I think they're learning we need a backup. You can't go in without a veteran backup quarterback. Right. So what they probably gonna do next offseason, have a veteran backup quarterback. But right. I think it's just a learning thing for them.
Go ahead, Mike. You want to jump in?
Yeah, just real quick. You mentioned the wins and losses and quarterback wins as a stat or not.
Yeah.
Just to give you just to end any notion that wins and losses a quarterback stat alone, Jacoby Brissett in his career has thrown 48 touchdowns, 23 interceptions, and 2 fumbles. He's essentially on the dot a 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover quarterback. 2-to-1. It's pretty good.
His career, and the completion percentage is not great, but it's serviceable.
And so with a 2-to-1, one second, with a 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio as a starter, he's 18-30 in his career. PJ Walker has 6 career touchdowns and 18 career turnovers.
Yes.
And he's 6-4 as a starter.
The craziest thing about all of this is that the receiving core this last year is essentially the main 3 guys is still Amari, DPJ. Well, it was DPJ.
No, it's better in theory.
Right.
Yeah.
He had 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
With that. We have 5.
He had 12 touchdowns. Now, he did have Nick Chubb, which they don't have this
That's
year.
true. But we have 5 total passing touchdowns on the season. He had 12.
It's just
in 11 games.
In 11 games.
Yeah.
At some point, as a Cleveland Browns fan and as a Cleveland Browns organization, they're gonna have to. They remind me of one of those people that sell like Amway and pyramid schemes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then they're vague about, hey, come meet me. And then you get there and then you're selling some different products they want you to sell. Mm-hmm. And then they sign you up and they give you 200. They say, write 200 names of your family and friends and go sell this overpriced stuff too. Mm-hmm. Right? So pretty soon you become a pariah. People don't want to talk to you because you're always hawking these little products that nobody really wants.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Browns because they amp you up and they be like, oh, we got this plan going and we got this thing where we're going to give you some leads. And you know what? So what? We lost. You know what? No matter. Look at the bright side. We got these picks, these assets, and we still 4-3.
Well, the picks.
We're right where we supposed to be at. And you're like, no, you're not.
The picks don't do y'all. Obviously, the picks ain't never really did a lot for us.
Ever.
So the picks, we all over the picks.
Yeah.
At this point, we know y'all not. I don't know why y'all value picks all this time, unless you're gonna package them picks and get players for them, like trade for players.
Yeah.
But if you're actually gonna take those picks and draft. Like, that's where the problem lies because y'all ain't really. I don't get me wrong, y'all done hit on a couple over the past couple of years, but for the majority of them,
Cedric Tillman, Siaki Ika have been
inactive.
These guys are third-round picks. Anthony Schwartz, he's on the street somewhere. Like, these guys, David Bell doesn't touch the field. He's guys, active, though. These guys don't play. So when you sell us on a 6th-round pick, we're like, okay, who's that little scat back from UCLA we used to have?
Demetric Felton.
Felton, yeah.
So you want to draft a bunch of Feltons?
Yeah.
So like, we're not going to be wild by that.
And we're going to get to that in a second.